On today's episode, we are going to speak to a gentleman who has over 29 years of experience in trucking. He has 14 of those years he was an owner-op, and he is going to share with us how to make an astronomical amount of money while being an owner-operator.
Let's get trucking.
This is Beyond the Rig.
All right. Well, welcome back to another season of Beyond the Rig. We made it past 2. As if you, for those of you who are actually watching the podcast, you'll notice that I've got Corey sitting here with me. Where's Will?
I'm so excited to be back with you, Linda, and filling in for Will because, we actually got notice that we had to send him back to podcast school.
I mean, this is what, times 3 now?
Times
this is his
2
third
or
time?
3, exactly.
Good gosh.
Hope he won't see this episode. I will. But anyway, it's really great for me to be back with you. And since I haven't seen you for a week or so, how was your trip?
So I know Will said that I was at podcast school, but you can't believe that joker. I actually was on vacation. So I went home to see my daughter, my granddaughter, and my son-in-law. And my son-in-law graduated from the Army Officer Cadet School. So that's where I was at. That's where I went to go and check it out.
I bet that was
awesome.
exciting.
It was. It was so exciting to see his next step in his career. And, of course, it's always great to see my daughter and granddaughter.
Absolutely. Nothing like grandkids.
No,
I have a surprise for you.
I love surprises.
Okay. So, the Olympics just finished. And so we can't start without a dad joke.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
All right. So what do you call a nervous javelin thrower?
Scary.
Shakespeare.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So
All right.
pretty soon we'll throw on some granddad jokes too.
Is there a difference between the dad and the granddad?
Only your hairline. See?
Which we can't see because of the hat.
Well, yeah. I'm really excited for our episode today.
Me too. So I want to tell you what's going on about this episode. We are going to talk to an experienced owner-op so they can help us explain how to be successful as an owner-op. We're also going to talk about how to stay fit over the road, which is awesome because I know we have a lot of people. I actually follow a guy on Facebook who shows me different things that he can do in the truck, which is great. And then we're going to try to figure out, how do you do the work-life balance? Because, that's what's important. You got to do your job, but you also got to stay making sure everything's going the way it's supposed to be going at home.
Correct.
Because it's a happy wife, happy life, right?
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm really excited too because we have one of the people that I know that's got so much experience that can address all of these topics today.
Right.
And we'd like to welcome Elliot Savoy with us today.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Elliot Savoy. Where does Savoy, the last name, come from?
It's
that's
actually
not something
French.
I've heard.
It's actually Savoy.
Savoy.
Yes.
How would you like us to pronounce it?
Savoy
Savoy.
would be sufficient. I do
Savoy would be
appreciate
We would
that.
like you to say Savoy. That's how it's pronounced.
Exactly.
Well, growing up in Louisiana, that was our native language, was French. And my grandparents spoke French, and a lot of my older relatives, they could barely speak English.
What?
And my parents would speak French, but when it was time for us to learn, it was taught in school, but of course we never adapted to it.
Yeah,
So I knew when they were talking about me. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I can detect a little Louisianan in your
Okay.
accent, right?
Yeah.
Country.
Yeah.
So we met a few months ago.
Yes, we did.
And I was really excited. And I remember just that very first time we met, our conversation was so engaging, and I was just intrigued with your experience. So Elliot has 29 years experience in the industry.
Industry, yes.
14 of which, the last 14 as an owner-operator. So tell us just a little bit about, how you got into trucking.
Actually, as I was just earlier speaking about my parents, trucking wasn't even an idea then. I wanted to follow in my mother's footsteps. I wanted to be a nurse.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. I wanted to make mama proud. But one of the things that truly excited me, my dad drove a truck for a heavy equipment company, and he was about 5'5", 5'6". And to see this little man handle such monstrosity of a beast, I was like, that's my superhero. I want to be like daddy. And actually all my brothers became truck drivers. And ultimately I said, you know what? It's in the blood.
Wow.
I said, you know what? Let me try my hand at this. And I was surprised to see how just from the beginning I was so good at it.
How many brothers?
Two brothers, two older brothers.
So the three of you guys all drove trucks.
Yes, and my two younger sisters got into, well, one of them got into the medical field. The other one got into the police department.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that's what got me into trucking, my little dad.
My little dad.
My little dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were a company driver for a long time.
Yes, yes.
And then what prompted you to make the jump to
Well,
being your own boss?
Man, well, first of all, I'm going to tell you this, but then I'm going to go back. It was about the money. But as I was a company driver, I didn't want to undergo the responsibility of having to do all this on my own. And besides, I was new at this, so I didn't know what it was like.
Right.
And so I figured, you know, hey, why don't I just get in? Why don't I learn the business and see what it was like? And I did very well as a company driver. And then when I got on with this particular company, I was in a dedicated account, and most of the guys in the account were all dedicated. And these guys actually started sharing with me the kind of money that they were making. And I was like, wait a minute, this is a huge pie here.
As an owner-operator.
As an owner-operator.
As an
all I want is
owner-operator.
a slice of it.
Yeah.
And I started making this money, and I started realizing that there is just no limit in this industry when you're being your own boss, because you are directly responsible for what you're making, for what you don't. And I love that freedom.
Yeah, that's
So-
a true
Yeah,
statement.
so that-
Absolutely.
So you learned the ropes as a driver,
Yes.
and how to be successful, and
Yes.
that in and of itself is there's a set of goals that you set for yourself on how to be successful as a driver,
Yes.
right? But
You
you
have
don't
to.
have to worry about paying insurance on the truck, making the truck payment,
If
you know,
something
putting
breaks
aside for
down.
maintenance,
Right.
all of those things, right?
Right.
You just worry about the routine, providing good customer service, and then how to be productive.
Yes.
Using your
Because
clock.
Yep.
most drivers are paid by the mile.
Right. Right.
So tell us the difference, the switch.
Well, the switch is once you become a company driver and you start learning the ins and out of the business and understanding that somebody else is taking care of everything in the backdrop, taking care of the insurance and the permits and the maintenance and the fuel costs, you understand that, and you start realizing that even as a company driver, you still have to be responsible for certain things such as, hey, how do I get the best miles per gallon? How do I get the lowest idle time? You know, how do I make the most miles?
Right.
And so when you get this down to a science and you realize that if I can just translate that into being an owner-operator, I mean,
golden.
that's money in the bank.
Yep.
You're halfway there.
Yes, indeed.
You
Yes,
develop
indeed.
the habits
Yep.
to be disciplined,
Yes.
to do all the right things,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And then after becoming an owner-op, you realize that, okay, I've got this area of it, you know, nailed down and pinpointed.
Right.
And then you start seeing the results. You know, like one of the times in particular, I'd like to share that after about four years of being an owner-op, I was actually featured in a magazine, if I may say, called Overdrive Magazine,
Really?
for having over 8 miles per gallon. But I learned that
Really?
as a company driver, and then I just translated that into being an owner-op.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That is commendable.
Thank you.
Wow.
And so what contributes to the increased fuel mileage? What are the things that you do as a driver to get that many miles per gallon?
You know, after being on the road for so many years, you see trucks pass you, and then you see them again pass you, and then you see them again pass you, and you wonder, hey, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Keep those doors closed and keep those wheels rolling. And my thing was I drove for a few hours at a time at a steady speed. Now, my CB handle was slowpoke. I was the slowest thing on the road. I could drive on the shoulders and still get to where I'm going. But my thing was keeping the speed average. California, I'm doing my 55, 56 miles an hour. And I specifically remember when I came out here and speed limit was 70, I was doing my 65, 66 miles an hour, cruise control, straight down the highway. I'm not trying to stop at truck stops, not trying to stop on the side of the road, not trying to pull in the rest areas. I'm keeping those doors closed and those wheels spinning, and that's how I got great MPG.
Wow.
And a lot of drivers
And
don't.
speed.
Yes,
Managing your
absolutely.
speed.
Managing your speed, yeah.
A lot of drivers don't realize that manufacturers design the engines for maximum fuel efficiency
Yes.
at the speed limit.
Yes.
And they get anxious. I want a
Yep.
truck that will go 75
miles,
or
yeah.
80 miles an hour, and they're burning fuel like
That's exactly
crazy.
what they're doing.
When you get that RPM up, right? So,
Right.
that is great advice. Doors closed,
Wheels
turning.
wheels turning.
Steady speed.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
So
so
slow poke was his hand.
Slow poke. That's right.
That's
the day
awesome.
came to buy your own truck.
Yes.
How did it feel?
I was very nervous. I didn't have the slightest idea of what I wanted because all the information that I gathered was just like too much. You know,
Yeah.
what do you do with all this? How do you compile all that and then just make a good decision?
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine, his brother owned a trailer, actually, shop. And so I went to see him, and he took me to his brother's, who had 3 trucks on the property. And I said, I'm not interested in buying a truck. I'm just interested in getting information on what to look for and then ultimately what to buy. And so I'm talking to him, and he's like, I'm not going to try to sell you anything, but I'm just going to talk to you about it. And ultimately, I end up buying an automatic, a 2002 automatic Freightliner.
Because
Because I had never driven an automatic. I've always used a manual transmission. And being that I was coming into the industry, I want to be different. Let me see what difference like. And I come to realize that was the best truck that I had, and it was a 10-speed automatic truck. Loved it.
once
Well,
again,
you get better fuel mileage too with it being automatic.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that helps save you.
Yeah.
oh,
Sure
for
indeed.
sure, for sure.
Actually felt like I was driving a motorhome.
Well, especially in California, like those automatics. So when we switched to automatics, I happened to be in a driver's lounge, and the drivers were angry because they
Yes.
want to be able to shift, right?
Yes.
And so I sat down with them and I explained why we were going to automatic. I'm like, look, how many of you guys going through LA? And they raised their hand. Okay. Your next trip to LA, after you have that automatic, I want you to call me and tell me, was it the biggest mistake of your life getting automatic or not?
Right.
I didn't get one phone call that said, no,
Right.
I hated this. They all loved it. They're like, man, I never thought that would be,
Yep.
it's so much better.
There is something to shift in those gears too, though. You know,
I know,
I've
that's what
gotta
they
say
like.
that, right?
That's what they
sure.
like. But you know what? When you look at the truck stops, you'll see those guys, and they've got what they call the trucker limp, right?
Yes.
Because of that
Yep.
that knee.
So true. So true. Yeah.
All right. So now, after all these years of driving,
Mm-hmm.
what's your favorite truck?
Freightliner. Got to go with the Freight Shaker.
Got to go with the
Yes,
freight
indeed.
shaker. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, what do you like about them?
You know, the truck itself. Now, one of the things that I'm gonna say is I'm not the kind of guy who will start to debate about horsepower and torque and
Right.
differential and rearing gear ratios and transmission. All this, I like the look of it. It actually has. It has that masculine look, like that, "Rawr," you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like it, and besides, the newest one that I had was a 2012, and the thing was very comfortable, man. I just loved the way it handled. So that was it for me.
So you sound like me when my husband and I are purchasing cars. He always says, "You want to drive it?" I'm like, "No," and he goes, "Well, why not? Why would you want to buy the car if you haven't driven it?" And I'm like, "I just want to know what it looks like, and if I like what it looks like, then I'll be all right driving it."
I know that feeling.
And I want to like the inside because that's what I see.
Right.
And if I don't like the inside, then I don't want the car. I don't
Yeah.
care how much horsepower it has or what it is the best of anything. Doesn't matter to me if I don't like the inside.
I'll just buy one if I can fit in it. If I can get in it, I'll buy it.
So one of the interesting things to me in asking that question of you is we've seen where we have a program called the Million Miler Program.
Okay.
And when a driver gets to 1 million miles, they get to pick the truck and the color that they get to drive. And we have 4 different makes of tractors. And it's interesting to see that everybody has their own personal opinion.
Oh, yeah.
They have their favorites. You know?
Absolutely. So what do you find that these guys are picking more of? I mean, Freightliners, Internationals? I mean,
I think it's I think it's spread across the board, isn't it,
It is.
Linda?
It is.
Okay.
I mean, Freightliner is definitely up at the top.
And
for sure.
and Volvos get picked, and Internationals and
So,
Kenworths.
I know I've never driven a truck, but when I look on the inside of the trucks, the Volvos are pretty awesome because they've got like just a bunch of, they got like this netting and these pockets, but these nettings are there so you can stick stuff in there so that if you break, it doesn't shoot through the thing. But they're all over the place. And it's like, that's
See?
nice because
You
there's
know,
storage.
you know what you remind me of? When we bought the house, I'm looking for the garage in the backyard. My wife's looking for cubby spaces. You know?
Exactly. So now aren't you
Storage.
glad
You
you
can never
don't,
have enough storage.
you don't have to make that decision again because you're not driving, right?
Right.
Currently, what are you doing?
Actually, I'm a facilitator at trucking school. So I now teach it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So if
That's
you were
awesome.
successful doing it, now
Yes.
you can help others.
Yes.
So
So-
tell us. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You were going to say. I was going to say, tell us and tell our audience how to be successful. I mean, the nitty gritty of how to be successful, whether you're a company driver or an owner operator. How does it start?
Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to have the right attitude. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to go forward. I interviewed for a job years ago, and I knew the people that I interviewed with, and I got hired. And I asked the guy in the end, I said, I know the people I interviewed with. I said, they have experience. Why did you hire me? And he said, I'm not looking for experience. I'm looking for attitude. And there's a lot of times we get into the industry, and soon as one thing goes bad, attitude changes.
True statement.
And you start to develop a bad taste for the whole thing instead of just for that one certain aspect of it. But you want to be successful in company driver, owner, operator, man, you got to have the right attitude because out there, it's a go get 'em. You have to have that drive. It's that kind of atmosphere that you have to have. You have to do that. You have to be willing to think outside of the box, and you have to be willing to do just about anything. Because, and I say this, company drivers and owner ops, every time you're dispatched, all I heard them tell me was, here's some money. And it all adds up.
And all you got to do is this to get it.
Yes. All you have to do is that. But you also have to have an end goal in mind, too. Okay? Because company driver, owner op, we both have to have that same mentality. There's got to be an end goal. Why am I doing this? What am I trying to accomplish? What kind of results do I want to see?
Right.
If you don't formulate all that, if you don't, my dad, I just heard him. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Great advice. Yeah,
So-
you don't know. So, in other words, on the attitude, and I heard you say with the other message behind the scenes was flexibility.
Yes.
So with the end goal in mind of being productive and being profitable, don't let the frustrations of the shipper or the consignee or
Get in the way.
or a conversation with the dispatch get you off track from that.
Right.
Be flexible.
Right.
If you got a
Absolutely.
couple of hours left on your clock in the day and maybe you could do a local delivery,
Do it.
do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In other words, don't just say, well, I'm only going to do this or this, or I don't
Yeah.
like driving here or there. Do
Yeah.
it.
One of the things that really got my name going in the company is there's certain times of the year for company drivers, owner op, we have what's called light freight. Okay. And even when we don't have light freight, there's a lot of freight that people don't want to move. And so I would go in as there's a word in Spanish, and I can't exactly say it, but it means I'll take it. And so when I was offered a load, all I ever said was, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Then it got to the point when freight was light. I was just, give me whatever nobody wants. I'll take that. And even when I would come in and like you said, I had a few hours left, a couple hours. Hey man, is there a local I can do? And then sooner or later you start to develop a name. They start to see you credible and to make these deliveries and so forth and so forth. So now every time you come around, hey Elliot, here.
Take this.
Like I'll take it. But a lot of guys don't want to do that. They want to be picky.
That's the key. How do you teach them to understand how to use their clock? How do you teach that to them?
If I may say, you put them in a chokehold. No, you know, it's maximizing your time. Your time is money. If you're not maximizing that time, you're losing out on money, because if you have the hours, spin those wheels, do something.
Keep the doors closed and the wheels
are turning, man.
All right, so now we're going to drill down a little bit more.
Yes, sir.
So when you start your day, how can you best maximize your time?
Well, know what you're doing before you're doing it.
All right, and that's called?
Trip planning.
Trip planning.
Yes, sir.
Okay, talk about trip planning.
Absolutely.
And how important that is to anybody that's either driving as a company or an owner, and especially an owner-operator.
Well, you know, even this morning I was getting ready. I only live a few miles down the road. And I'm up 4 hours before it's time to get here, because I'm making allowances for rush hour traffic, making allowances for road construction, I'm making allowances for if anything happens out there, accidents, and so forth and so forth. So you have to stay a step ahead. You have to think about where you're going, how you're going to get there. And a lot of times we accept dispatches, we look at the GPS, and we just start moving. I'm like, no, with technology the way it is today, you can just about figure out and see everything that's happening from here to your destination. And what people do is they wait until they get in the crux of a problem before they have to deal with it, when you knew that route was going to be filled with something. You knew there was construction here. Trip planning is so important, so important.
That's how you start your day.
Yeah, so some of the things you consider are where your pickup is,
Yep.
doing a pre-trip, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Time of day.
Absolutely. Because of rush hour traffic, the traffic patterns.
Yep.
Do you ever look at like Google Earth to see where the shipper or the...
Absolutely. Especially if you know, well, for me in particular, if I knew I was going to get there early, or just let's say I wanted to make it to a customer before my appointment time, I need to see where this place is situated so I could find a place to park. Mm-hmm. You know, or can I do my 10 hours over there? Or can I do my 10 hours after I pick up? So yeah, with technology like that, that's very beneficial to a driver. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So it's not like a Sunday drive, just hop in the car, put on your GPS.
Absolutely not. Yeah, exactly. You do that, you're headed for trouble.
Exactly. So yeah, trip planning is amazing. If you'll do that, knowing where you're going to fuel.
Yes.
Knowing where you're going to take your 30-minute break.
Yes.
Knowing where you're going to take your 10-hour.
And then you can be proactive, and like you said, okay, let's suppose I get to my destination and I've got 3 hours on my clock before my appointment. Mm-hmm. You'll call your driver manager.
Yep.
And say to let them know, is there something I can do in the meantime?
Can I push my appointment up?
Yeah.
Because I'm here.
Can I deliver early?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, hey, could you stack me with anything as soon as I get done? Because I've already checked in and they told me, hey, it's only going to take an hour. So you figure 2 hours later, I'm ready to go again. Yeah. Instead of waiting until you're done with your loading or unloading. So, yeah, being proactive is also a big key.
So this is all on how to be successful, but and obviously you were for 14 years before you decided to come in to the office. But you had to have had challenges while you were out over the road. What are some of those challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
There was quite a bit of challenges. It's no kidding. You got issues going on at home. I remember now. This is years ago. My kids are now grown and gone. Bye, guys. That I was at a rest area in Iowa, on a payphone.
Uh-oh.
Okay, now that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
At a payphone, trying to correct my daughter about something she was doing in school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Doing a little coaching. Or
Yeah. And so you have to deal with that, and you have to deal with moms like, she's your child. You need to handle this. You need to do this. And I'm thinking, you know what? I can't do that. I can't. And then I'm like, well, hold on, Elliot. You got to learn how to balance this life, man. You got to have a happy wife, because that's going to create a happy life.
Yeah.
And you still got to be somewhat of a disciplinarian, a counselor, a coach, and dad. You got to do all this. You got to run a business. And the challenges of doing all this and finding that balance, and then not just that. Now you got to start thinking about taking care of yourself as well.
Right.
How do I do all this? And I remember times sitting behind the wheel, looking out the windshield, thinking, I'm running a business, I'm running a home, I'm raising children, I'm keeping a wife happy. I'm super mad.
That truly is
it's
amazing description.
It's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
But, and honestly say this, if we all would look over our shoulder and see what life has thrown at us, we've handled it. And so this is no different. We can handle this. But I'm hearing my dad again. Dad used to say, having a problem is not a problem. It's a problem when you don't know how to handle it. It's when it becomes a problem. So, proactive.
Smart dad.
Yeah, he is.
So what are some of the things that you did to create that balance?
Well, I made things as normal as I possibly could in the industry. I didn't just drive and sleep. I created things. I actually sometimes I would even go to the movies when I'm out on the road.
Oh.
Yeah, I would even go bowling. I just tried to have a normal life instead of drive, sleep, drive, sleep, drive, sleep. Now, I also separated my work from my professional life from my personal life. When I went home, it was all about family. It was about spending time. It was about doing things and understanding that you've got all this you have to juggle, and you've got to make it fall all in line. And so having a wonderful balance in an industry like that is not the easiest thing to do, but it's you can manage it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's such great advice and a great picture. Go home, be home.
Yes.
Go home, be home, right?
Go
be
home,
at
be home. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
All right. One of the things that, like Linda was saying, the challenges that happen on the road, some of those challenges you can avoid, like being stranded from a mechanical problem.
Ooh,
Or a flat tire.
man.
So tell us how, because when you're a company guy, sometimes you get stranded, you call breakdown, they send
Somebody out.
roadside
Yeah.
service. How does that change when you're an owner operator?
Well, the breakdowns, the roadside service, the money that's coming out of somebody's pocket to have all these repairs done, that stays the same.
Somebody pays for it.
Somebody pays for it. The difference is this: the degree to which you take care of your vehicle, the degree to which you do your pre-trip, the degree to which you are proactive about anything that even looks like it's going wrong, falls so heavily on the owner-operator. You definitely make sure that you take care of those things. Tires are very expensive. Company drivers don't have to worry about that. You see your tires going below the specs, you change them. You see anything that looks like it's going to go wrong on the truck, you fix that. Here goes Daddy again. No, guys, y'all going to say something about that watch.
I like it.
My father used to tell me, you take care of what take care of you. He taught me that lesson on a bicycle. He bought me my bicycle to go back and forth to work. And I used to have all my little friends riding on the bike, having them on the handlebars, 3-4 of us on a bicycle, pedaling. He said, that bicycle's going to break. You need to take care of that bike because it's taking care of you. It's no different than a truck. That truck is taking care of you. You need to take care of it. Now, I had a mechanic. I had a personal mechanic. Now, although the company that I was employed with, also great group of guys, I got to personally know them. you definitely have to stay and communicate with these mechanics, because they're more or less, man, like the backbone to, this truck staying up and running.
Right.
And so you get in there and you understand what they do, who they are, and you let them know that, before there is even an issue, you see something coming, we address it. We take care of that. Because I mentioned to somebody one time that road service is $350 to $500. And then when the tow truck comes in, you're looking at $600, $900, $1,500, depending on where this thing needs to be towed. And guess who's paying for this?
You.
That's right. Excuse me. All because you saw there was a fray in a line, or you saw there was a leak coming from somewheres and you didn't address it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
So it's cheaper, even though you need a new tire, to
Yes.
take care of it beforehand rather than
Yes.
have road service come
Yes.
and do it.
Well, not
Absolutely.
to mention the time that you're down, which means if the
That's
wheels aren't
money.
rolling,
That's money.
you're not making any
Yep.
money.
When you're on the road
Yep.
and you have to get a tow, bad news.
Yeah.
So
Or stay
even
in
though
a hotel if they have to keep it.
exactly,
in
so
somebody else's
even though
shop.
you're
That's right.
even though you're a company driver, the same thing applies.
Oh,
Same
yeah.
thing applies.
If you're taking care of your equipment because it takes care of you, you have the potential of losing time and productivity if you break down on the road. Now that's going to happen from time to time.
It does. It really
even
does.
with the best
Yeah.
preparation.
It has happened, and it will happen again. But you try not to let it be your fault because you intentionally overlooked something that you knew you could have taken care of.
Great.
Yeah.
So if you could give some tips to anybody who was thinking about becoming an owner-operator, what would they be?
I would say this. If it's a new and upcoming driver, first of all, do you 3 years minimum with a company. Understand what the business is like. Run, see how productive you can be, see whether or not you're going to like this. Because there's a lot of guys come into the industry and they really don't stay for any amount of time because it's not an easy job. If driving a truck was so easy, man, we would all be doing it.
Yeah.
It's hard. I would say go ahead and do that first 3 years as a company driver. Second of all, treat that truck like it would be your own, because ultimately that's what you're trying to get to, is to be an owner-op. Be productive. Have that attitude, that right attitude, that go get 'em. Man, I'm going to do this. I can, I will.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. There you go. Y'all vote something like that?
I'll take
I like
it.
it.
I'll take it, yeah. And do that. See if that lifestyle is for you. Because, and it also is like this too. If you don't have that support system from the house, it makes it difficult out there on the road.
Oh, yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Very much so. Very much so. So a lot of times, again, as we were talking earlier, as soon as one thing becomes unbalanced at the home front, I want to get off the road and I want to start staying closer to the house and so forth and so forth. Mm-hmm. But you got to come in with the right attitude, guys and gals. You got to have a goal. You have to have an intent in mind. Where am I going with this? And so, yeah, if I definitely could share, tell them get in for about 3 to 5. And then, now, me personally, I would also say this. After being a company driver, become a lease operator from a company, because that contract.
Kind of a middle step.
Yes, take the steps. Take the
Yeah.
steps, because once you sign your name on a dotted line for a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 vehicle, there's no turning back.
Right.
And you need to know that this is going to work. And the only way to find out if it's going to work is you start from the company and then just continue to work your way up.
Great
That makes
advice.
sense. That makes sense.
I know that a lot of companies now, the one that we're affiliated with, have a great lease program where they help a potential owner-operator learn how to be a businessman,
Yes.
business person.
Yes.
They help them do an accrual for maintenance. They help them make sure
Yes.
they have the proper insurance. And so they're giving them that middle step,
Right.
The tools.
the
Yeah.
tools before they handle it on their own.
I like to call it being set up for success.
being
There you
set
go.
up for success.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
that's
'cause
such a
I know-
great
Exactly what it's
advice.
doing.
Yeah, exactly. They're teaching you the complete ropes. And then in turn, a lot of them offer that bookkeeping service. So your taxes and all that stuff is being prepared for you. All you have to do is just submit the receipts. So there's literally much of nothing you got to do but just drive.
So
I'll take it.
Take advantage of that.
Yes, absolutely.
And then when you're experienced and now you know about the taxes and you know about accruals for your maintenance and depreciation of your truck, because at some point it's going to wear out.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you're going to have to buy a new
another
one.
one.
Yep.
And so you want to be able to be saving for that nut when that comes, right?
That's very important.
Okay, another
How many trucks? We gotta. I mean, you started talking about trucks, right? So how many trucks did you buy?
Well, I actually had 2, but one at a time. Right. My dear old dad told me I can only drive one, so stick with one.
Yes.
But yes, I did want more because, like I said, the opportunities are endless in this business, and the money is just astronomical. It's great. I don't say that to condemn anybody, but where else can you go and make over $100,000 a year without a college education?
That's true.
Yeah,
but
and
it's not
I'm one of
without
them.
professional training, right?
It's definitely not without professional training.
Yeah, you're not just going to open up a Cracker Jack box and get a license, or some might say you can. But no, it's hard work. And so ultimately, like I
rewarding.
said, I would have done more, but the lifestyle that this industry has afforded me, working one was plenty enough.
Right.
Yeah, I had a wonderful life, a beautiful wife, beautiful home. I mean, and all thanks to the trucking industry and hard work. But the team and the support that I had behind me, when you're backed by one of the best, you can't lose.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah.
good. All right, you've talked about advice. You've talked about how you took care of your equipment. You talked about setting yourself up for success. How did you take care of you on the road?
Health.
Well, I bought me a T-shirt that made me look really good. No, it was difficult. In the beginning, it wasn't, I didn't even think about exercise at all. It was just about, as I said earlier, drive and sleep, eat. Drive and sleep, eat. And I actually went to the doctors for a physical, and he started reading, now this is how long ago this was, my chart. They don't read charts anymore, right? He's reading my chart, and he's reading off all these things, and I'm like, who is that? He said, that's you if you don't start losing some of this weight. And I'm like, wow, okay. So what do you suggest? And he said, diet and exercise. And I'm thinking, goes back to Dad. Take care of what take cares you.
That's right.
If this body is allowing you to drive this truck, to make
gotta
this
take
kind of
care of
money,
it.
you have to take care of this body. So I started fumbling around with exercise. I'm up underneath the trailer. I'm doing crazy things, right? Leg lifts and push-ups. And I'm thinking, man, there's got to be something better than I can do than this. And then actually I started thinking, I've got a gym in my truck. Got the top bunk. I can squat. I can sit up. I can pull up. And then I started becoming a little more creative. Then I realized I've got an empty trailer. Why don't I get in there and jump rope? And if it's bad weather, I got a jacket on. I'm going back and forth. I'm running. I'm just doing things just to burn off some of this calorie. Now, one of the things that I recommend to guys today is we can pull up in a parking lot to a gym. A membership is now $9 a month.
Yes.
Okay. If that doesn't work, I've seen guys take small benches out of their cabs, put it on the side of their trucks, couple dumbbells, jump rope, mats, doing whatever. Absolutely. And being that we can now, we have better access to gyms and parking lots and so forth and so forth. I say the same thing about truck stops. Park all the way in the back. If that is the only exercise you're going to get, at least you're getting some walking in. Mm-hmm. But we have to do something to stay active. And it's got to be, high on our list of priorities, because our health, man, again, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't do your job. So
Take care of what take care of
great
you.
advice. Eating on the road is
difficult. Well, actually, no. Eating is not difficult.
Eating is not difficult.
easy.
Eating is easy.
healthy.
But eating
Healthy
healthy.
options.
Yeah, there you go. So that is somewhat difficult. But I'm noticing that now the truck stops are starting to change their menus.
Yeah, I
Now,
noticed that too.
it solely becomes our choice. Now, I will not sit here and tell you that a grease-laden bacon double cheeseburger is not going to taste good, because it really does.
It really does.
But when you go to certain places, you do have vegetables. You got fruit. You got the salad bar. You got fish. You got chicken. So it's just our choice now that it's come to be.
I did
Yeah.
notice that now that not all truck stops, but there are some that have like a cup of fruit. Or right there by the register, there's bananas or apples or
Yes.
which is nice.
Right.
So that
The
at least
bigger
you get
ones.
something.
The big ones have a better selection.
Yeah, and I see
Right.
salads and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what was difficult for me as well, too, is I had a fridge right on my front seat. And I find myself eating out of boredom.
oh yeah, I
Oh,
could
yeah.
totally see that.
And that's what you have to watch out for. And then...
Well, it'd be okay if you were eating carrots.
Well, you see, and that's what I
Right.
was getting ready to say, because my wife had changed all that, because, she would get in there and she said, man, I've got a bag of Kit Kat and some Snickers. And she said, no, fruits and vegetables. And there was times when I would stop at a super center. And because I had the fridge, I would buy my own fruits and vegetable and break it up and put it in the fridge and snack on that. But that is a habit and it's a habit. That's what it is. It's a habit that we have to overcome, is eating because of boredom.
So did you cook on the truck?
Not necessarily cook any sort. I had a hot pot that I can boil stuff. Now, I'll boil hot dogs and boiled eggs. But for the most part, I would pack the food from my house. My wife would pack it, freeze it in Ziplocs. I would stick it in the freezer, put it in my cooler and so forth. So I would always meal prep from the house.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the later stages of my career.
A lot of our guests have done that. And they say that to be healthier and to avoid the pitfalls of eating from boredom and buying everything at the truck stop would be to prepare from home.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like trip
Yeah,
planning.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just like trip
Kind
planning.
of
There's a way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I find comfort in a bag of chips.
You too?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind?
Ooh, I like so many.
Yeah.
Sea salt and vinegar.
No, barbecue.
Really?
I like the barbecue.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Barbecue anything.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had, although I will admit, I was at the airport and they had these, they're called, I think it's Wisps, I think is what it's called. And it's like this cheese cracker and it's barbecue. I mean, how could it be bad?
Okay.
Right? So I bought it. Oh, no.
No.
I only took one.
Give it back.
Throw it in the trash. I was like, this is awful.
Okay.
I felt bad
okay.
throwing it away, but it tasted terrible.
Yeah.
I hope they're not watching.
Oh, yeah. I hope not either, but it wasn't any good. It was
I still
too much
got my
cheese.
receipt.
It was too much cheese, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was called cheddar. Like that's what it was supposed to taste like. It's
Right.
just not something that I like. But I purposely bought the barbecue because I thought, oh, how could it be bad?
Well, at least now you know.
Yeah, I won't be buying that one
There
again.
you go. There you go.
Okay, I got another one for you.
Yes, sir.
So you've seen so much of the country.
Yes.
Where after all these years would be your favorite run?
Oh,
Right now, if they had to ask me, hey, Elliot, we got a load going to Miami, would you take it? Absolutely, yes.
really?
Yes. Want to run down south to Miami, just down to the tip of it. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably park the truck for about, maybe a week and then head on into Key West and then from there to Jamaica. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, but
I
I
don't
think
blame
Florida,
you.
absolutely.
I love Florida.
I've went as far down as Tampa, but never been down to Miami. Have visited every state in the country. Now, the Northeast is very beautiful, especially during the right time of the year when all the season, the trees
Yeah.
are changing. And,
Oh, yeah.
September,
and then don't get me
October.
over to the Northwest, man, where you see the pines and you see the snow and, funny story, just a little story. I was running through.
One more story,
just-
Corey.
Oh, hey, that's exactly what they call you.
Uh-oh.
I was running through Wyoming, and I'm talking about there's nothing to do and nothing to see, right? And this song popped up into my head, Home on the Range Where the Buffaloes Roam.
Yeah.
And I looked over, and there was a herd of buffaloes on the side of the road.
Oh, wow.
So we have such a beautiful country, man. And I've heard it said that the view from the office changes every day.
True statement.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
True
indeed.
statement.
So, there's a lot to see out there.
So through the 29 years in the industry, you never made it down past Tampa.
Never made it down past Tampa.
Wow.
That's right.
So
Yep.
if you could have any load, it'd be there just so you could experience.
Yeah, well, we went to Cabo before the pandemic started, and that's what we were doing. We were traveling, and we were just making all these plans, man. Every couple, 3 years, we can afford it now. The industry's been good to us. And I said, this is what I want to do. I said, I want to fly to Louisiana to the family, and then we're going to fly to Miami, and then from Miami, we're going to hit Key West, and then from there, we're going to hit Jamaica. So, no, you can do that. You can take the time off.
Right.
And so that's where all this comes from. I want to do Miami, Key West, Jamaica, and keep on going.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go too.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan to me.
I do too.
Yeah, I'd love to go. That sounds like a great trip.
So that's the plans.
We lived
Absolutely.
in Tampa for 2.5 years. My husband was in the service.
At MacDill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were stationed at
I
MacDill.
was there.
I love Tampa. Absolutely loved it. But we never made it down to Miami either.
See?
Yeah.
That close, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just last week we were talking. I have some friends who were stationed with us in MacDill, and they sent us a message that says, "Hey, we're thinking about doing an Alaskan cruise. Would y'all meet us? For the cruise?" I'm like, "Yeah, heck yeah." And they're like, "Anywhere else you want to go?" I'm like, "I want to go back to Florida.
Yeah. There you
Let's
go.
go to Miami."
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's make the trip.
Yeah,
So-
it's beautiful.
So anything left on your bucket list?
On my bucket list, Corey, I'm going to tell you, I just did 3 things on my bucket list.
Oh,
Okay?
what were they?
I'm afraid of heights. So I went parasailing.
Wasn't that fun?
Loved
It's
it.
so peaceful up there.
Feels like you're just gliding on the wind.
So peaceful.
Love it.
Now, hang on. Was
Yes.
the guy who was running the boat mean and dunking you in the water?
Oh, I didn't feel any of that. No matter what he was doing there, I was way up there.
So he didn't bring you back
great.
down and dunk you in the water?
No, actually, what I did was I landed on the beach.
Oh, okay.
So they told me how to guide this thing and land me on the beach, and I'm up there and I'm looking at all this water and I'm thinking, first of all, you can't swim. Second of all, you're scared of heights. What are you doing?
Oh, it's so peaceful up there, though.
Yeah. So check.
Check.
Again, I can't swim. I went snorkeling. Now, how does that work?
Yeah.
Right? Well, the tour
I
guide.
know.
Go ahead.
Floaties.
Yes.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
Like arm floaties?
No. I actually had a life jacket tied around my waist.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
yep. Don't judge me. I did.
Wow.
I did. Now I'm a huge fan of aquariums. Looking at that ocean and looking at everything that's taken place, I felt like I was in a giant aquarium.
Oh, yeah.
It was beautiful. The third thing that I wanted to do, again, can't swim, afraid of heights, not afraid of water. I ride motorcycles. I wanted to jet ski.
Oh.
Now, I am in 300 feet of water, can't swim. But, of course, I got a life jacket,
jacket.
and now I got the floaties. Yeah, okay.
And a life jacket with the
Yeah.
floaties.
Now I got floaties.
Oh, that would have been a great picture.
I did that.
It's so fun.
I'm thinking, I know this is kind of far-fetched, but there's only one other thing that I want to do: top fuel drag racing. Yes,
Whoa.
I want to see what it's like
See,
to go
I love
300
that.
miles an
living,
hour.
Yeah,
he's like
I
living
love
on the
that.
edge.
Thinking outside the box, something and doing
Yes.
something
Wow.
that you may be afraid of.
Yes.
And try it.
Just
and
try
see
it.
So
Just,
that is
I mean,
great.
I don't want to look over my shoulder and say, you coulda,
You should have.
and you shoulda, but you didn't.
all right.
Yeah.
Just let's do it. Now we do quite a bit of deep sea fishing. Again, can't swim, but I'm in 400 and 500 feet of water. Now I'm the only guy on the boat with a life jacket on, and my wife, of course, I ask her to wear hers, and they would say, "Hey man, it's bad luck to be on a boat with a life jacket. We're not going to catch any fish." And I'm like, "Hey man, this is boating 101. Put your life
Put
jacket
your life
on."
jacket on. Like, that's what they tell you.
Yeah,
Kind of like putting
But-
your helmet on, riding them up.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
Right.
go. Absolutely.
And I see
You
you
know,
agree.
they don't too much. I mean, they tell you that the life jackets are available.
So did you catch any fish?
Oh, we we oftentimes it's called taking expensive boat rides. Yeah, you come back with nothing.
Exactly.
But sometimes we do catch though.
Do you I bet you get to see some pretty cool stuff out there, like any whales or
Dolphins.
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 Oh, the dolphins are so pretty.
Beautiful.
They're so beautiful. I agree.
That water's so bluish green.
When those
It's so
dolphins
far
are
out
there,
there.
you can get in the water. There's no sharks.
Yeah, I'm not going in that water.
Well,
Okay,
the dolphins,
I
the
can't
dolphins scare
swim.
them off. I know, but you got your life vest on
Don't forget the floaties.
and the floaties.
So where's the bluish green water?
Off the coast of Oxnard, near the Santa Cruz Islands.
Awesome.
Yes.
Not too far from here.
Yep, not too far. Yep.
So, Elliot, it's been so fun having you today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You've taught us some great things about being an owner-operator, about lifestyle, and some great advice. Do you have any more daddyisms
Woo!
that you
Yes.
want to share?
Yes.
And any other things that you haven't touched on for advice
the
for our
daddyisms.
audience?
My dad, that's daddyisms. My wife calls them Elliotisms.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're daddyisms. One of the things too that Daddy used to say is that because, like I said, you can make astronomical amount of monies in this industry. It's not how much a man makes; it's how much he holds on to. Guys are gonna make a lot of money in this industry, and growing up in the South, where I grew up from, we didn't have a lot financially. So when you got it, you held on to it. We, lived a simplified life, and if we wanted things, we usually created it. When it was time to go and have fun, you made that happen. We wasn't like generation is the younger today, where everything is done indoors. You're playing on PlayStations. We didn't have any of that. One of the problems about making that kind of money is the inability to manage it. So many times a person makes thousands of dollars a week and they want to spend thousands of dollars a week. And they don't think about it takes money to make money.
Right.
You make that kind of money, some of that money has to go back into the business.
Yep.
And so
sure.
Had to
and,
invest.
Yeah. And I've said this before, I was making so much money that it's not like I didn't know what to do with it, but it was above what I needed to live on. So I just put it away and put it away and put it away. And Daddy told me this. Hey, Dad. Dad said money is nothing but a tool. No different than that lawnmower out in the garage that you need to use it to cut the grass. It's just a tool. Put it away for when you need it. Because
Great
one day you
Wow,
will.
that is a good
You're going to
one.
need it. Yes.
I'm liking
So,
Daddy.
Yep. Daddy was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
To all the girls and gals out there, man, first and foremost, it's going to take determination, and it's going to take attitude. It's going to take motivation. You can't just walk into this industry and not have some kind of idea of what you want to do. And I don't mean I just want to drive a truck. There's something a little bit above and beyond that. What do we want to do with this career we got?
Right.
So,
And obviously it can be a great career.
oh, absolutely.
It's surprising to me that there's a driver shortage out there. So your message is so timely for people to know that they can earn a great living, have a
Absolutely.
professional career,
Yes.
and enjoy themselves,
Yes.
and at the same time achieve their financial goals in the transportation industry.
Yep.
Now, if so many people don't think that we're valuable, again, look over your shoulder. What just happened with the pandemic? I mean, we were needed.
Yeah.
The public
We wouldn't have had toilet
realized what we.
paper. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
The public realized what our value is and was.
And still is because
yeah, exactly.
because
exactly.
even now it's hard. I mean, my gosh, we're
Yeah.
still struggling trying to get supplies.
And my family went through it, and everybody else's family went through it. So if you didn't get a thank you out there, understood that you still played a very crucial part in keeping America going, so you can feel good about yourself.
And if they didn't get a thank you,
We thank you.
we thank you.
That's right. There you go.
100%.
Yep.
I totally agree.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you so much. for
Absolutely.
being
I
with
really
us
appreciate
today.
you guys. Thank you.
It was great talking
Yeah.
to you.
All right,
And I
me
love
too.
the daddy-isms.
Daddy
We need to
Dad.
have a section of just daddy-isms.
I think that those guys can do that for us.
Man, that would be awesome. Like
Daddy-
We'll
Daddy-isms, huh?
separate out some daddy
Daddy-isms.
Well,
Yeah.
as long as we don't get the daddy that said, "Boy, when you getting up out my house,"
Yeah. But we'll be sure to include a dad joke too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a granddad joke,
And a granddad joke.
That's
Because the
right.
difference is the hairline.
hairline. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, guys.
Thanks,
That's
everybody.
awesome. Yeah, thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
We enjoyed bringing this show to you, and we hope you had fun along the way too. We're going 10-10 for now, but you can catch us on the side on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Beyond the Rig and Drive Night. Until next time, be safe out there and keep trucking.